Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to an episode of Honest Trailer Commentaries for The Witcher Season 2. Show's still going, and so are we. We're going to do some
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Coming up on 10 years, I think, of Honest Trailers. This is amazing. What a
full
decade.
Conjunction of the spheres.
Yeah.
Honest Trailers.
We have a special guest. Danielle did work on this trailer, but she's under the weather today. So we got Witcher fan in chief, Joe Starr. Hey, thanks for joining us.
It's very nice to see everyone. Hello.
Hey, nice to see you.
Let's talk grunts.
Let's grunt it on. Let's just start talking overall thoughts about The Witcher. Then we'll watch the show. Then we'll show some deleted scenes, which I believe there's a lot of this time. And then tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. I'm going to give you a clue right now. I can remember barely anything about The Witcher because I've just spent the last week binging another fantasy series with a ton of proper nouns in it. So forgive me if I get a little tongue-tied here. But what do you guys think overall of this season? Joe, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you can always tell when I'm invested in a show because I start without being prompted, just sending you joke pitches for the Honest Trailer, which I think I sent you a lot this time. So
Kevin said there wouldn't be enough to do a season 2.
Come
on,
Kevin.
We can squeeze blood out of this stone any day.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things where, I think this season drags a lot because they're like, time to world build. But at the same time, it's still like, I like these actors playing these characters. So if they need to have a ski vacation for a couple weeks while we explain the inner workings of the continental republic.
Oh man, it was kind of like
I'll take it.
Yeah, slobs versus snobs, Care Morin. I would have definitely watched that show.
We kind of got our ski school series.
Yeah, they're trying to shut down the Witcher school.
Yeah.
Dude, Lon, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree. It felt weirdly like a filler season, and I think what I enjoyed so much about season 1 was that it didn't feel like all the other fantasy shows. Like it wasn't this like grand world building one quest. It was like kind of a monster of the week, going on a lot of different adventures, seeing a lot of different kinds of monsters. And I really liked that. And I was looking forward to more of that. And then this season really pumps the brakes on that and is like, no, we're going to stay in single locations and we're going to really dig into this mythology and like, what the meaning of Witchers and the origin of Witchers. And obviously they are laying the groundwork for, as Joe and I were both talking about during the making of this, like it's obviously this is a franchise expanding hub, we're going to use this season to do the anime shows and the prequels and like get all these other things spinning off. And like you shouldn't be able to like feel that, I think, so specifically. And you really feel that like, okay, this is the Vesemir thing and we're gonna put him in, and then this is like the origin of the Witcher stuff that we're setting up for over here. And like, I don't know.
I will relate it to my entry point into this franchise, which was The Witcher 3, which is one of the best games I've ever played, where it's like if you just played the main storyline quest this season and you never like went off into all the interesting, like, oh, I got to help this person find their cow, but it's a demon. Like that was to me is the most rewarding and interesting part of this. But like you said, there's a lot of groundwork covered, and I hope that they now have some freedom to just kind of dabble around in season 3 and have some more just random, just walk down a spooky road and see where it takes you. It doesn't all have to.
I think you could have kept the tone and still done everything they needed to do this season. Because the first season, we still learned about the world as we jumped around and fought goofy shit. Like we could have done it season 2 as well.
I feel like they're sort of trying to capture the style of a Game of Thrones, but it doesn't feel like their heart is into it. Like there is a sort of gesture at politics in this, but not enough to really give you a sense like Game of Thrones did of like, here's Highgarden's sort of take, and here's what they need, and here's, like all of these different families in these different areas. And like Game of Thrones really built that groundwork so you knew everybody's position and what they had and what they needed and what they couldn't afford to sacrifice. And here, like, I don't know anything about Redania. So when
the Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones politics, the Game of Thrones politics was so rooted in like material needs of the people and like actual stuff happening on the ground. And when you mix the politics with high fantasy of like, we need to control the chosen one, and the destiny of the bluesy blasey, like there's just a disconnect there.
Yeah, they want to make expensive Xena, so just make expensive Xena.
Right,
Like that's
yeah,
what I want to watch.
This feels like the Dorne stuff in Game of Thrones, where we can all feel that it's kind of half-assed. And like, if your heart's not into it, just don't do it. We don't need to know about Dorne.
That's
right.
any Dorne.
We don't need Dorne. Britannia is just Dorne again.
I did overall enjoy this series, not as much as season 1, but I'm still on board, and we'll see where we go from here. Let's watch the Australian.
I feel
it's like an hour long. Let's go.
Really good.
You loved season 1 of The Witcher when it came out. Now, after watching 18 other fantasy shows, start your epic quest of trying to remember anything from 2 years ago.
I have absolutely no recollection of any of these people.
The Witcher, season 2.
Yep.
Geralt of Rivia returns, and while he's still pretty grunty,
Pause. It's funny that we thought that he was grunting less in season 2, and then when we counted, it was pretty much the same amount of grunts.
Or more?
Yeah,
you've just started to like accept them.
Right. Yeah, you overshadow them. But yeah, he was also talking more, so they didn't stand out as much. But that was kind of like his verbal tick was a little. Still got it. Still got it.
Yeah.
Still got it, baby.
I mean, like, yeah, that makes sense, because like season 1, he was more of like a mysterious figure to us for the first few episodes, so it would be more just grunting.
Yeah.
And this was always grunting along with being the hero of the first season that we've gotten to know.
Yeah. All right, keep grunting.
and almost as f***y.
Where the f*** are my swords? Fire.
He's added a new weapon to his verbal arsenal, deep sighs.
Same, dude.
And since the
Love when
law
we
of
have enough for
surprise
this
has a
split.
no return
Six
clause,
days.
watch Geralt play dad to a
Pause.
girl who is either part.
I will say he's really good in this. I know we laugh at the grunt size, but he does very little and gets a lot of like humor out of it and like a lot of really funny moments, just with like eye rolls and weird head tilts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I realized on my second watch of this season, you really kind of have to watch for him too. Like he really like hits you right before a scene will cut. You know, he'll just give like a real big like Jim from The Office to somebody.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. It's pretty funny.
It's good because it's very subdued. Like that's what Henry Cavill is really good at, is like, I'm going to stay restrained 99% of the time. So the one time I go big, it has like maximum impact. It's kind of what he does, I think, in Fallout as well, where it's like, it's so subtle for most of the time that any big thing seems like it has double the impact because he's such a patient performer.
I also think he gets that, like, if Geralt's just the ultimate badass, like, it's boring. Like, I think he really gets that, where it's like, because I think there might be some actors or even writers who would be like, no, man, he's just a grunting, stabbing bathing machine.
Right. He's not Riddick. He's got some
exactly.
sort of
There it is.
more,
Yeah.
He's got more inner life. Yeah.
Well, I would say it's the role he was born to play, but clearly the role he was born to play is some Warhammer 40K like blood god or something like that. Maybe Joe can help me out with some of those. But yeah, I hope he gets to do this as long as he wants, because he's great.
Wait, aren't they Space Marines in Warhammer again?
Yeah, but it's like it's 40K, Lon. You know, it's space, it's fantasy. It's
I feel like
demons,
90% of the franchises I don't know about is just Space Marines.
Joe?
Yeah, no, that's
Halo?
fair. That's completely fair.
Halo, they're Space Marines.
Yeah,
They're Space Marines. Yeah.
all right, keep going.
To a girl who is either part Bruxa or just a normal teenage girl, to be honest. Dive back into an awesome show
future
about
spinning.
badass characters and all the spin-off bait they meet along the way as our heroes journey to a Helm's Deep full of Witchers with one whole personality split between them,
You're choosing to be ignorant asses, aren't you?
including Vesemir, the sad old man with a spin-off backstory who's scared of another conjunction.
Maybe another conjunction will come along.
A junction whose function will be explored in another spin-off. And now everyone is concerned with how they smell.
You both smell truly awful.
Even if you do smell like shite.
You reek of old horse.
I'm beginning to smell like an Nilfgaardian's ball sacks.
To justify the spin-off set in the world of deodorant ads.
Go what you could wash away the stink.
I mean, why stop there? Just greenlight NCIS Blaviken, 90-Day Boar Fiancé, Real Housewives of Nilfgaard. I mean, it.
I've got some fluffy biscuits need buttering.
I'm glad I found a place for that because I just wrote in my notes of fluffy biscuits. I mean, of all the, there's some really well-drawn, nuanced characters, but that was like they took a big stamp that said old-timey horn stamp.
Yeah,
I think she says right after that, how's about a little bit of how's your father?
Yeah.
I think they took her directly from a Ren Fair. Yeah. I think she was just a Ren Fair worker that wanders around, and they were like, exactly you, don't change anything. Yeah.
And she betrayed Yen for a bit of coin.
It feels like the opening scene of like a Broadway musical where like every character comes out and sings like one line. You're like, that's who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
she was definitely
prostitute. You know.
Yep. Yeah. She was definitely about to direct you to Sweeney Todd's.
Yeah. And it's like, that's when Belle walks by with her book, and then the baker's like, my baguettes, like you get that one.
That'd be amazing if she was in provincial town.
In the provincial town.
Fancy a twisted mermaid. Belle.
I guess the town prostitute is still sleeping in that scene when Belle first gets up.
Yeah, long night.
Yeah.
Well, I think that because like you said, Lon, that there was a lot of scene setting and ground setting to maybe expand this world and make a bigger one. And I guess I was a little let down by the other Witchers. I met a few of them in the game, and I read the first book, and Vesemir is he's a cool character that I imagine they explore more in that thing. But like, I don't know. I guess really I expected them all to be as cool as Henry Cavill as Geralt, but I guess like he's just the cool kid that got out, and they're just like the dorks that keep hanging around the castle. None of them really rose to the level of even close to like even supporting him.
I was surprised because it's not like this isn't really a flaw. They really don't try. Like there's no real effort to other than Vesemir and Geralt, and then there's one who gets set up so that it's sad when he dies. We don't really get to know any of the other Witchers more than like a line here or there, and it's all kind of generic, like tough guy. They're hard on, Ciri, or they're making fun of each other or whatever. And it's just like, you would think because it's such a big setting and it's our first chance to meet other Witchers that they would have invested a little more time in that. It's kind of weird. We get to know a lot more mages than we do Witchers.
Yeah. And it's like, is Geralt like, so I guess Geralt's like that with like the hair and the bodybuilding and the grunting, like just that's just who he is. That's not a Witcher thing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I'm going to say this. I've watched season 1 a bunch now. I've watched season 2 twice. I've watched the prequel movie, which is cool, Spencer. You should watch it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
And I still don't understand. I've never played the games. I haven't read the books. I don't know why everyone doesn't also look like Geralt. And I also still don't know what these elixirs do. I don't know what the deal is with the little with the meth that they take shots of to do magic. I don't know what they do.
I mean, I know it holistically.
It doesn't bother me, but
when they first of all, the whole thing seemed like some kind of trap house, and they're all just like cooking up these like insane shots of hard drugs, and then like getting really messed up, and their pupils dilate together. And then like a teenage girl comes there. It's like there's a whole different reading of this if it's about an opium den. But
there's that one scene where they're all about to fight. Where I think it might be the second to last of the last episode, and they're all drinking their little potions. And I was like, what's the other thing? There's one other franchise where the characters all have to drink potions before they fight. And I was really thinking about it. It is Disney's Gummy Bears from the Disney Afternoon, where they got to drink the gummy berry juice right before they fight because that's what lets them bounce around.
Yeah, bouncing here and there and everywhere.
I put it in some notes.
You did send the picture.
I even sent you that picture of
could not tell what it was. I just thought it was a cartoon bear. I didn't recognize the show.
That's Disney's.
Kuiper B says the white hair is because Geralt was put through the mutation trials twice.
That you know what they do. That's mentioned in something. They brought that up.
He's like a twice baked potato, like right.
Oh, poor guy.
You like French fries?
It might have been in Witcher 3, the game, where they mentioned that somewhere. I've definitely heard that before.
I was surprised though, because they cast Tormund Giantsbane, and that was like a big deal. And then he's just kind of like,
hey, it's me. Well, I think they should put all of them back in the fryer and make them a little more hardened or something. But yeah, it just seemed like a frat house. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going.
Gear up for a new adventure that drops the non-linear storytelling of season 1 in favor of a more straightforward Netflix series where the filler is more obvious, full of training, studying.
So what we'll be doing here then? Studying monsters.
Yeah. And an obstacle course that would get yawned off of Ninja Warrior. Because this season is less about the monster of the week and more about deepening relationships and character growth. Sorry, can't relate. Haven't grown since the 8th grade. Now go fight something I used to doodle in my notebook margins. Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah,
Wade
pause.
into the politics.
I feel like this show would have benefited by giving the same budget and have them do what were Hercules episode orders, like 24 episodes, 41.
Yeah, something like that. 24, 28, something like that.
Yeah.
I really want to see the basic cable 41 episode order of this show. And it's just people with like different, slight prosthetics on them, and they go,
"Oh no, it exists."
Yeah,
there's they tried to make this already in Poland, and it's a delight. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh wow!
Okay,
so if you want to see Witcher on a shoestring budget,
Netflix should give us one show like that. They should just do one conventional, like old style '90s syndicated, like
that was
episodes, and just see how much.
I think that was the farm, or what was it? The ranch.
The ranch.
I'm afraid that was the ranch.
Oh, they only did what 16 episode seasons. They would split them in 2.
But they did like 2 seasons a year of that show.
Right. They did. It was double any other Netflix show for sure.
Yeah.
It's the ranch, but every 20 minutes they go, "Oh, a striga! Quick, drink your potions." All right,
Spencer, did you have a particular monster that you used to draw in your notebooks?
No, I was drawing people rocking and skating. Not so many monsters.
And Stussy S's?
Yeah, come on.
Hell yeah.
All right, keep going.
Into the politics of Middle Poland as you track the shifting allegiances between, let's see here, where are my notes? Let's see, Stregobor, Friendabear, and Fringilla of Nilfgaard, Vizimir, Dijkstra, and Philippa of Redania, and Amira of Centra. Phew, nailed it. Watch these bureaucrats struggle through a plotline as boring as the words elf migration crisis would imply.
They need no other reason than the shape of our ears.
And now, the only hope to bring peace between elves and men is the whitest, blondest savior with magic powers that come from having the purest, most untainted blood of all.
She's elder blood.
There's a gene. It keeps showing up in Cintran genealogy records.
Eugenics, the cause of and solution to all the continent's problems. Catch up with a hot cast of...
Let's jump to a fan question here, because this is one that I struggle with. Ben Zaiten writes, "This is a serious request. Could you please delve into why there was a war, who fought who were the good guys, who were the bad guys, why are the elves hated? I was so lost."
Only there was a wiki of some sort.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
the only thing,
which you're not fan of.
The only thing I know for certain. And is it weird that I still don't understand a lot of this, but it also does, like, I'm still like, this show's great. I don't understand anything that's happening around it, but I enjoy it. But like, the elves are hated because they were here first, and then people, as we do, showed up and were like, and
I guess we all kind of
drove them out.
I hesitate to draw this parallel because it's thorny and the political, but I feel like in some ways elves and Jews are comparable in this world, that it's like there's kind of a Christian, like they were there first and they're seen as having these like dark conspiratorial, like they're not part of us and they're working against us from within. And I think this is, I'm not saying this is anti-Semitic, I'm saying this is intentional, that it's like that's what the metaphor is, that it's like elves are seen as this undermining aspect in the larger society, like we can't trust them, and so there's this tension that is then exploited by individual leaders or politicians for their own selfish benefit.
But they also, but then like the Siri of it all, like, and I guess it's complicated, and I think that is what they're trying to do, is like by saying that there's good people on all sides, you know, is that they like Ciri really is a plot to like take over the world for elves again, right? Did I understand that correctly? Like they want to use her to
very much
dominate
like
humanity again.
It's a little like Hellboy. Like Ciri is this fated, like she's the one who's going to reverse the trend and bring elves back to elf supremacy. But Ciri doesn't want to choose that path. So she's not going to use her powers to do that, even though that was like the prophesized thing she was supposed to do. That was my understanding.
Mm-hmm. Continuing that line of thinking, Lon, because I think that was a really brilliant comparison. What if once Ciri is at the height of her powers and like grown and gone through puberty and all that stuff, they recast her with Ron Perlman?
Yes, I'm 100% in favor. Just give her just a big stone hand and just like
just mission folks.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Catch up with a hot cast of characters who've either f***ed with or been f***ed by fire.
Okay,
like
that was
Triss, the sweet nerdy girl who always comes in second to Geralt's chaotic goth ex.
Stay with me tonight.
I'm sorry.
Jaskier, the bard who scored a #1 fantasy pop, then went full emo trying to break out of his sophomore slump.
Fire!
Oh, they wanted this to be a toss a coin.
Maybe some
so
visual help?
Go f yourself.
Yeah, there we go. That one's going to my Spotify wrap-up. Geralt's trusty horse Roach. Geralt's other trusty horse Roach.
You'll dare.
And Yennefer, who may have
sadly,
scored...
that is a carryover from the books or the lore, at least, is that there's a lot of roaches out there. Much like Milo and Otis, there's a lot of that horse has been replaced many times.
How dare you? It's heartbreaking.
Not a real, they didn't really do it. This isn't, what was that HBO horse racing series?
What was that? I don't remember, but yes,
it got canceled.
They killed horses,
but not on purpose. But yeah, horse racing's pretty messed up. Don't make a show about it. Okay, keep going.
Luck.
That's what it was.
And Yennefer, who may have scored the Daenerys postseason 1 My Eyes Are Up Here contract, but she's still trapped in the same old story of boy meets girl. Girl uses her magic to burn down a forest. Boy believes girl has died. Girl has unfortunate encounter with ancient witch in pocket universe before losing powers. Boy discovers girl may sacrifice war to regain magic. Boy and girl put off feud to combat potential apocalypse. So enjoy the smash hit show.
This is where they made some big departures from the source material and people were up in arms. Yennefer in the book, from what I understand, this is the second book, I haven't gotten to it yet, she like briefly loses her sight and gets it back, but in this one they made it this whole she's losing her powers thing and she's willing to do anything to get it back, including sacrifice Ciri. And it's like people are really upset that they made her unsympathetic or too evil, or you can't really follow her character anymore, that she's willing to kill somebody to regain her magic. I didn't feel like they pushed it. I can understand if you were expecting the book version of the character, but I didn't think they made her so awful that you couldn't understand where she was coming from or why she was doing what she was doing.
This is always weird to me because like characters get tempted and have struggles, and that's part of writing a character. If I can bring up just something that doesn't really get discussed a lot, The Last Jedi. Everyone like lost their shit about Luke's. For 2 seconds, he's like, "Oh God," and then he's like, "No, I'm good." But unfortunately, that 2 seconds gets witnessed by his kid. But yeah, it's like she was like, maybe I got to bring a Baba Yaga this kid.
Maybe it's a brutal world. She's killed before. She'd kill again.
Well, it's consistent too, because season 1 was also she was willing to do, some pretty reckless things because she wanted a baby and didn't think she'd be able to have one. So I felt like it was a way of sort of mirroring that, and like she's still on this journey. Like she wants to be a good person and do the right thing, but she's always going to be tempted by power and remembering where she came from. And it's like that's a character. Like that's. Like, yeah, she might not deal with everything the way you would, but like you understand who she is and where she comes from and why she might feel this way.
Yeah, so a big part of her character is still rooted in I'll show them, I'll show everybody, and that'll make you do some things.
And she's a person that more than almost anyone else really knows what it is to be without her power, to be without status, to have nothing. And she's been very sincere about from minute one, like, I'm never going to go back to that. So you do understand how she'd at least be tempted, like maybe not do it, but at least be tempted.
Yeah,
agreed.
Interesting. While we were talking about the Hellboy comparison, that the hut in the forest that has legs and walks around, witch imagery, that was also in the David Harbour Hellboy movie. I guess they're lifted from the same Eastern European folklore. It must be
that's something in the cosmic unconsciousness that makes us want a hut to have legs.
A witch in the woods in a hut that walks around on its own power.
That's a thing. That's a Baba Yaga, which always confused me in John Wick. I was like, he's an old lady that lives in a walking cabin.
Boogeyman.
All right. Yeah.
We should see if there's like a shared producer on Hellboy and Witcher, because maybe it's like a robot spider, Wild Wild West situation. John Peters.
It's specifically John Peters. It's like, we gotta have a hut with legs.
Someone check that. Okay, keep going.
Enjoy the smash hit show that still has tons of rich and interesting source material to explore and bloody epic fight sequences to show off when it chooses to. So unless Netflix gives the show its patented 3 and done treatment, Cavill's got plenty of Witcher money coming to keep his Warhammer habit fueled.
Warhammer 40,000. That is my jam.
There are a lot of characters from the Warhammerverse, the universe that I want to be.
Do you know Warhammer at all, Warhammer 40,000, that kind of stuff?
Why is it when I talk about lesser demons of Nurgle, my girlfriend ignores me, but when he does it, I have to wipe the chair down? Starr.
What's that you have there, Joe?
What is this?
Warhammer minis, baby.
Yes.
Your hand.
I've been stuck in this house for 2 years.
Wait, show us a Nurgle, a demon of Nurgle.
Show us your favorite. Your favorite.
I don't have a demon of Nurgle, but I do have some warriors of Khorne, a parallel god.
Sounds very
of
exciting.
chaos.
Are they down with this?
Yeah.
Wait, that's not Khorne.
Here's this guy. He's a gross
like
fat guy with a whip.
He's like a freak on a leash. Thank you, Lon.
Here's a oh well, Spencer, if I tell you names, you have to promise to sing a metal song about them.
Yeah.
This is a Bloodsecrator of Khorne.
Get up, get down with the Bloodsecrator.
Wow.
He has an ensorcelled axe.
Ensorcelled axe.
He has an ensorcelled axe.
This is making me want to learn more about this franchise, I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, these are not technically 40K. These are Age of Sigmar, which is Warhammer Fantasy.
So the regular Warhammer is there in outer space. It's sci-fi, but then there.
So yeah, we had a fan question about this. Someone asked what the 40K means. What's the 40K in Warhammer 40K?
I thought it was the year 40,000.
Oh my God, we lost Joe.
Oh, he's our only source of knowledge about this.
Right when we needed him most. What a shame.
I thought it was taking place in like 40,000 AD.
That's what I would guess, right?
40,000.
No one look it up until Joe comes
like Woodstock 99.
In the incredible year 400,000.
All right, I guess we'll keep watching the trailer and he'll be back. Yeah. If we can. If not, we'll just look at Joe's frozen face.
Destiny's Child.
So you're all very clever.
I'm just Jenny from the Berg. I can't do my magic and I need it cured. Mentor, the Witchmaker. Dr. Ginge, Medicine Woman. Reince Priebus, Believe Science. Stop stabbing yourself. Stop stabbing yourself. Poet at the Disco.
Oh yeah, that was
Little
great.
Thumb. I don't know what to do with my nubs. Lens Crafters, Lisa Frank Edition. If this hut's a walkin', don't come a knockin'. What's that? And you guys might not know this, but I consider myself a bit of a loner. I tend to think of myself as a one-man white wolf pack. But when a hedgehog man promised me Sari, I knew she was one of my own. And my wolf pack, it grew by one. So there were 2 of us in the wolf pack. I was alone at first in the pack, and Sari joined in later. And then when Adventuring introduced me to you guys, I thought, wait a second, could it be? And now I know for sure. I just added 2 more folks to my wolf pack. 4 of us wolves, running around the continent together, looking for monsters and baths.
Might be the longest one we've ever done.
And the Gruntsmen. Oh, the elves think they've got it tough on the continent? Try being a baby.
You made it just in time for the baby queue.
Yeah, a lot of dead babies.
We should have done I Want My Baby Back, Baby Back.
Game of Thrones also had a memorable baby murdering sequence. What is it with our fantasy? Why is it okay in fantasy and not?
Well,
any other
if you're
genre?
continuing the elfin Jewish conspiracy, then it's Passover. You know.
No, well but I mean that is one of the scenes that definitely led me to that metaphor. Is that they basically do their own Passover.
Yeah. Well, sweet. You love to see it. Here we go. Now we have Joe's back to tell us about.
Yeah. What is the 40K? What's the significance of 40K in Warhammer?
That's the year. So 40K is
nailed it.
That was my guess.
So way back in the day, they made the Warhammer Fantasy, and then sort of as a parody of sci-fi, they made Warhammer 40K, which was like grimdark on purpose. Like it was clearly stupid. And then everyone now it's kind of like the Snyder cut of miniatures, where everyone takes it way too seriously and forgot that it's sort of supposed to be a silly, like, because it's like World War I gaming, but with like ridiculous space marines and orcs covered in spikes and space elves. And
I've always wanted to read these novels just because they have the best titles of any book printed.
It's interesting that you say that it was originally meant as like an over-the-top grimdark parody, because that is what it feels like, but then people take it so seriously. I've never understood like, where it falls on that spectrum.
It was clearly supposed to be silly. And I think some people still get it, but then some people are just like, don't touch my Imperial Guardsmen. Like they're
it's dark like
important.
My soul.
But yeah, so there's the sci-fi stuff, then there's fantasy, which is Age of Sigmar, and then they also have like a rugby game called Blood Bowl, which is awesome. Like rugby with fantasy races, which is kind of fun and stupid and silly.
Mutant League Football, that was one of my favorite games.
Oh my god, I forgot about Mutant League Football. Oh, it was the best.
Fire that one back up. Well, yeah, that Warhammer 40K has always appealed to me, and even from a distance, it's like, oh, this is so over the top. This looks fun. Like you get to pretend that you're on like a heavy metal album cover, and
we'll get a show or something. There's no
Henry Cavill's on board
resisting. Yeah, well, it'll happen. They all these platforms need more shows.
Yeah, totally. Like they do animation shorts right now on their, like there's a Warhammer like Plus, basically, that's mostly just like, hey, if you sign up, you get a free model once a year, and but also here's like little animated shorts. And like there's been, obviously there's like Total War and there's been games and stuff like that, but they've never really made the jump.
Well, did you show off everything you wanted to show off? Because it's really now or never, Joe, as far as your figurines, your little dolls.
I'm good. But, now, you know what? I think they'll all fall over if I pick them up. There's my Stormcast Eternals right there in that display case. I'm good, man. Okay. This is my life now. I just sit in this room. I do fandom things, and then I paint tiny men.
Don't we all, in our own ways? By the way, check Joe out on youtube.com/D&D Beyond. Anywhere else to check out Joe's current and future work? Is that the spot?
That's where I'm at, man. Just rolling them dice and
roll them dice.
And yep.
Nice. Well, go subscribe to that right now, and then come right back for the deleted scenes. Let's watch them.
Geralt's trusty horse Roach. No! Eugenics, the cause of and solution to all the continent's problems. Oh man, the showrunner's totally gonna fight me online for that one, huh?
Yeah, pause.
In this fantasy,
there's both sides to it.
I feel like that would be too much of a provocation. So we'll see. We'll see if we get called out.
Well, we know she watched and was a fan of our Witcher season 1 honest trailer, so she's going to put eyes on this.
I know. You can't think that people involved are either enjoy your work or are going to watch it, because then you will start tailoring it to them, and we just have to pretend like nobody aside from the two of us will ever see this.
Yeah, it is genuinely tough.
No, I mean, I fully wanted to put a joke in about how she was trying to like make peace with the Twitter, like unite nerd Twitter in a grand gesture to celebrate Witcher season 2. And
there's so many times where we could talk about like internet drama, basically, where I just feel like that's so ephemeral and like gone in a week that like
it's also so niche. Like, you know, the percentage of the total people who will watch this show or even this honest trailer versus the people who follow Twitter drama, it's just like a drop in the bucket. It's barely worth it.
But tune in next week when someone tries to tell the world that you can restore the Snyderverse and watch Peacemaker.
Wait, you can? This is okay. Finally, I get to watch Peacemaker.
I feel like you can. One or the other.
I was told it was one or the other. Okay, keep going.
In this fantasy world where power is shared between genders and skin colors. But pointy ears, that's a deal breaker, humies.
They need no other reason than the shape of our ears.
So pause again.
Discover.
This is a fan question. Evan J. Pretzer asked, why is it that so many fantasy shows and sci-fi films casually dismiss horrid concepts like eugenics and slavery? And I don't think that this dismissed. I don't think this dismissed them. I think it was going for a, what do you call it? Analogy, metaphor. Clearly, this was about like displaced people and refugees, and they were trying to address it in a nuanced or like smart way. But I don't know. Sometimes fantasy and sci-fi and comic book films and all this stuff, I feel like isn't up to the task because you also have to have a lesser demon of Nurgle pop out at some point, and you need to have a chosen one with the magic blood to unite the clans or whatever. So look, there's times when it's done well. I don't think it was done poorly in this. But I don't think that when people are like, oh, this is a thinking person's comic book movie, it's like you can also just watch a regular movie where they don't have to punch at the end about these things if you're interested in it.
I think on this stuff like slavery, because this is actually a big conversation in Dungeons and Dragons and stuff too, is I think slavery is like a really easy shorthand for bad guys. And you know, I think audiences just get to a point where it's just kind of like, I'm really tired of thinking about slavery or hearing about it, or, you know, or casually dismissing it so that I know that this like half giant is extra bad. And then, you know, as for, you know, the magic blood and the chosen one and the pure blood stuff, like all of our fantasy pop culture is like so rooted in a lot of European folklore that it's where a lot of that stuff comes up, you know, all the weird Norse stuff and things like that, that it's just going to like keep popping up unless someone finally just says, you know what, we're going to not. we're gonna.
I mean, I know that there's a lot of fantasy and sci-fi literature that doesn't have like a chosen one at the center of it.
Right. Just, no master race.
They're just not the biggest ones I can think of. I guess it would just be Star Trek, really, like Star Wars, Dune, Witcher, obviously, Lord of the Rings, a little bit.
Lord of the Rings,
Aragorn.
If you read the book, it is very expressly like Aragorn needs to be the king. Like that's what brings
He's
about
the blood in Numenor, bro.
Right, exactly. So like they cut it, it's almost like Peter Jackson kind of like, let's not worry that much about that. But it is very much part of the Tolkien thing. And that's what I was gonna say. Like, I think a lot of it is that all of this stuff is kind of derivative of a few really key works that inspired this whole genre. Dune and Lord of the Rings being very high at the top of that list. And like, they're both Joseph Campbell-esque chosen one narratives. And so we kind of inherit that. And it takes it's going to take some bold new vision of how to tell these stories to like really break us out of that mold.
Yeah.
And this is not that. I think this is a pretty good example.
Game of Thrones, you were the chosen one. Why?
No, I mean,
you failed.
But he's just doing the like, the George R. R. Martin thing is just not do the trope, but just like flip it, So like he's still doing chosen one stuff. He's just like, but maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. Lord of Light, who's he? Forget about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, keep going.
Boy discovers girl may sacrifice war to regain magic. Yeah, I know the show is its own thing and all, but knowing Yen would kill a kid is going to change my next playthrough.
Sorry, Yen, but magic's gone for me.
Brutal. I would have Triss anyways.
Oh, I missed you too, Daddy. Sorry, I missed you too, Daddy. But at the end of the day, the legendary White Wolf is only hunting for one thing. Some peace and f***ing quiet.
What is it? Maybe they're hiding from the storm.
Quiet. Stay here. Take theory.
Whose voice was that?
Quiet. Shut up, yes.
You shut up.
You guys might not know this, but I consider myself a bit of a loner. I tend to think of myself as a one-man white wolf pack.
Didn't get to
But when
see
the
this
hedgehog man
version.
promised me Siri,
I
I
didn't
knew
know
she
he
was
put
one of
the
my own.
heads on
And my
them.
wolf pack, it grew by
This is way
one.
better.
So there were two of us in the wolf pack. I was alone at first in the pack, and Siri joined in later. And then when Adventuring introduced me to you guys, I thought,
God damn
wait a
it.
second, could it be? And now I know for sure. I just added 2 more folks to my wolf pack. 4 of us wolves, running around the continent together, looking for monsters and baths.
Well, shit. I mean, if I had seen that one, I saw it without the heads on it, but if I had seen that one, that would 100% been the one we choose. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Okay.
We can snip it and tweet it.
We could snip it and tweet it. Give it a little snip and tweet. Okay, so we have some questions that we didn't get to, so let's get to them now. Adam Albert says, I don't get the show. Got so bored anytime it was about or someone said Nilfgaard. How much Nilfgaard could you take? I don't know if that's
you either love Nilfs or you don't, baby.
Yeah, I'm on Nilf Island, man. I just want to stay there. Let's see.
Although if they're going full on against Nilfgaard, I think someone's starring name next season is going to have to be Nilf Hunter.
Nilf Hunter.
Yeah.
Marisu asks, how many seasons does Witcher need to tell their story? And I think that it's honestly infinite, but it looks like that they're going to hew really closely to the books. So I guess it's going to be like 5. But that's up to Netflix. I think that this really could be a procedural. And
yeah, well, it doesn't.
Definitely.
I mean, like there's sort of hints that there are big climactic things in the offing, but it doesn't really feel so specifically like we're working towards a specific end point. Like, I don't know what that would be based on the 2 seasons we've seen. Like, what's going to happen that is like the big fit. Like, like Game of Thrones was always kind of pointing into like, well, eventually the White Walkers will get down here and there will be a war and they'll either kill us or we'll kill them. And like, it doesn't feel like we have a focal point to this story that's like, well, this will happen. Maybe the conjunction, I'm still not 100% sure what they mean by that.
Yeah. This is a good question. I think Matan Valencia asks, why do you think that Netflix still hasn't gone full in with the weekly release schedule? It could lead to a better discourse, which could save shows from cancellation. Or I'll add on to this, or at least like make people more interested in The Witcher, which I think
Pride, maybe?
Pride. This is how we've always done it.
Well, yeah, because it was like, it was the hot new thing. Like, oh my God, binge drops. Like you could just, and now that I think like Amazon and everybody else are just kind of like, no, we're going to stick to our guns here and do weekly stuff, or maybe 3 at a time each week or something. And I don't know. I think Netflix is like, no, we were right. You'll come back around.
I mean, I believe them that they're so metrics driven that they did some kind of calculation. It was like more people watch for more hours if you do a binge release than if you release a week at a time. And like you lose people throughout the series.
I honestly think at this point it's as much branding as anything else. Like that's what sets them apart. Everybody else is doing the weekly thing, but Netflix is where you go when you want to just like download the entire show into your brain all at once. And I think that they are getting canny too about what kinds of shows they make versus not. Like they make these very like disposable shows that everybody wants to talk about for a week and then it's over, like your Emily and Paris kind of things, or like or they make stuff that is for younger audiences that are going to jam through it all in like the first few days or whatever. And so like I think at that point it's as much that as anything else. Like we've obviously seen that stuff like Yellow Jackets or Hacks or these shows on other. Mayor of Easttown's a great example of like nobody was watching it first and then it built every week until by the end it was this big popular thing. And I think it's just like, yeah, but they have their model that they're doing and it's all like who watches in 1 week and that's all the metrics and like it's all about these like release something big and new every Friday and get everybody to watch it over the weekend.
I just think that literally every other service has moved on from the binge drop for their big prestige things like Paramount, Apple, HBO, like all of them have moved.
Amazon was like the last holdout, and then with The Boys, they just were like, you know what, we're spending too much money on these, forget it.
I'm told Brian Jones writes that Netflix did a hybrid weekly release with Arcane. I did not realize that.
Yeah, they've done it a few.
They've dabbled.
They've done it a few times where they're like
a couple reality things,
right? Where it's like we'll release a batch this week and then a batch next week and then a batch next week or something like that. So they have done staggered stuff.
We shall see. All right, final question from Pat Magana. What book series would you like to be turned into a film, then video games, then a TV show on Netflix? So it's got to do the triple crown like The Witcher.
Wow. I mean, I've probably thrown this around before, and they did do a show that I did not see because it was like UK and it was hard to watch in this country. But Discworld, the Terry Pratchett series would like specifically lend itself to a bunch of different kinds of media. I think like I could see like here's what the animated series would be, and here's what the movie would be, and here's what the procedural. That's what they did. They did a procedural series. It was like cops in one of the big cities from the books, and I don't know. Maybe it was good. I didn't see it.
Okay. I know I've talked about
City Watch. I believe the Watch is what it was.
I'm waiting for the library for a copy of Guards to check out. I'm very excited because I've only read 2 early Discworld ones. Anyways,
we've also talked about it before. I know I've brought this up because people have asked this question before, but those Ian Banks, the Culture sci-fi books.
Culture would be an amazing.
It would mostly work as films.
No, I think it'd be a good game.
I've never read those.
Like Civilization or something.
It's really cool because it's like mostly utopian. It's like not just it's like the Culture is this intergalactic civilization, and like technology has made like anything possible, and they go around and like it's almost Star Trek-y. Like they meet other cultures.
It's like the fringes of this utopia where
that
they
are outside of their reach, and then evaluate them, or like, should we invite them to join us or whatever? Like those are always the kind of adventures.
And like it's all run by these enormous artificially intelligent spaceships, and humans are just like fleas on their back, basically. But they still need us for something. I don't know. It's cool. It's very cool. It would
be great as films.
I would add in there, and I think it's being adapted, at least the first one. The series is called Remembrance of Earth's Past, but the first book is called The 3-Body Problem that I know got recommended a lot.
There's a Chinese adaptation going, and then there's also Benioff and Weiss, the Game of Thrones guys, are working on the US.
Oh, great. Okay. Never mind.
No.
Yeah. But there's also a Chinese adaptation being worked on.
Well, I hate to I don't want to broken record myself, but because video games were in the mix, I was like, it would be a cool video game, but like Temeraire, man, it's the Napoleonic War, but there are also dragons. And I just think like it's Master and Commander, but instead of a ship, they're all on a dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. That would be a dope video game, right? that'd be such a dope multiplayer video game if you're like all on a crew on a big dragon having to work together to go cannonball the shit out of another one. That would be super fun.
I'm into it.
Yeah, Napoleon is master of Europe on a dragon. Only the British fleet on a dragon stands before him. Dragons are now battlefields.
I mean, it's not like let bring back Master and Commander. I want several more of those films.
I think they did one more, didn't they?
No, not with Crow and Bettany.
Or I think they're going to do one more, not with Crow and Bettany per se, but anyway, something to look into. We got to leave you because we've overstayed our welcome, haven't we? But we'll be back next week with another hot topic. That's your clue. That's your clue for next week. I hope you enjoyed this time. And Joe, thanks as always for joining us. Again,
really good to see everybody.
Find them on D&D Beyond. Yeah, this is the only time we see each other because we're still quarantined, or at least our office isn't open. But we'll see what happens later this year. Hope you'll be back next week for another Honest Trailer Commentary. Thanks for watching. See ya.